Our word of the week this week is going to be arc welding. So I guess it's words of the week, plural, right? There's two words there. The reason I wanted to go over arc welding is I have a lot of people that come up to me and they'll say, all I know how to do is arc weld. And usually what they're talking about when they say that is right here. You just circle it. Way over here. Shielded metal arc welding or stick welding, or whatever you want to call it. This is the correct term here, shielded metal arc welding. People think that this is actually called arc welding, so we're going to clear things up because it's an arc welding process, but there's a lot of other arc welding processes as well. So when someone says arc welding, and they say I know how to arc weld, usually they're saying they know how to stick weld. The reason that I think that is kind of going on is because the old school welders would learn oxy-fuel welding and then stick welding. That is what they would start with. And stick welding obviously would be an arc welding process, and oxy-fuel welding wouldn't be. So usually they would start with oxy-fuel, then move into the stick, and that's why they call it arc welding, because they're going to start arc welding. And now it's just kind of a slang term. Arc welding is basically a slang term if you're referring to stick welding. It's not correct. A lot of people say it though. I've had a number of people come to me and say, I know how to arc weld, and usually when I ask them a few more questions, that's what they're talking about, is stick welding. But let's look at arc welding and how many different processes that covers. It covers the big three. I call them the big three. I don't know if they're in that order or not, but shielded metal arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding, and gas metal arc welding are the main three processes. I call them the big three, but there's other ones. Flux core, plasma, and subarc. Let's start right here with gas tungsten arc welding. People usually call it TIG welding, which is fine. Obviously that's an arc welding process. You have an arc there. Gas metal arc welding, people call it MIG welding, which is actually a slang term. It's not officially called MIG welding anymore because there's actually active gases, oxygen within the shielding. So the MAG would be a better, more politically correct term, if you will, than actually MIG. But obviously gas metal arc welding has an arc. I think everybody probably knows what those two are, but in flux core arc welding, it's kind of a mix in between MIG and stick. See, I just said don't say MIG and then said it, right? Flux core is a wire fed system, usually in a gas metal arc welding system that has flux in the middle. And what it does is it gives you some of the characteristics of stick welding, the deep penetration. You're going to have a slag covering, but it also gives you some of the high productivity characteristics of gas metal arc welding. So they're kind of mixing the two together here, if you will. Plasma arc welding, a lot of people don't realize that plasma isn't just for cutting, it's also a welding process. It runs a lot like TIG. The tungsten is actually recessed up into the torch a little bit more, but that's also an arc welding process. And then subarc, submerged arc welding, a lot of people confuse that with underwater welding. It's actually just a flux that comes out, the wire goes in the flux, and the weld is underneath the flux, so you don't see the weld happening. It's submerged within the flux. And over here is just the acronyms, and it's basically just the first letter of each word: SMAW, GTAW, GMAW, FCAW, PAW, and SAW. And that's what's going to be listed in code books for the AWS anyways. But these are the main arc welding processes. These three are probably the most common. I think anybody would agree with that. Maybe not, who knows. There's also non-arc welding processes. So I just kind of listed them here under other. So like we said, oxy-fuel, that has no arc. You just have a flame, you're melting base metal, then you're adding filler. Resistance. There's a number of resistance welding processes here. There's spot, I got them over here on a different board, but spot, seam, projection, flash, and upset. Most people think of spot when they think of resistance. Two electrodes come together, you push a foot pedal down usually, and the resistance from the electricity flowing through whatever the material is gets so hot it makes a little weld. Same thing with seam, you'll have two big huge copper wheels and they'll roll around whatever you're welding. Projection is probably the next most common. That's when you have little projections on the bottom of something, they come together and the projections actually make the weld. So there's a number of different resistance welding processes. The next ones you can see I got over here is solid state. Explosion, forge, friction, friction stir, and ultrasonic. it never gets to a liquid state. So it's a solid state weld. We'll start right here with explosion, and you can look any of these up on YouTube, and I'm sure there'll be videos on them. Explosion, they put a charge with two different materials together. It allows you to weld almost any material together. Dissimilar metals, stuff that just shouldn't go together. It doesn't make sense why they go together. That's what they use explosion welding for, like a cladding. Forge welding, this is kind of, I think, of an old school blacksmith. They take two pieces of metal, they heat it up, and they pound it together. That's kind of forge welding. Friction. Friction is when you have a part and it's in almost like a lathe and it spins. They put them together and that friction causes heat. It gets kind of plastic, and then it puts a force at the end, a forge force, that creates the weld. It never gets to a liquid state. Friction stir, kind of the same. It's got a little probe. It kind of like this marker here. It spins and it'll go into the joint and it'll spin like this, and it does the same thing. It gets plastic and then creates the weld. So it's that usually goes along a seam or something like that. Ultrasonic sound waves, right? So ultrasonics using sound waves to create a weld. I'm trying to think of the one application is the plastic. If you get like a little toy and it's got the plastic clamshell, they use ultrasonics to actually seal that. Everybody's almost cut a finger off trying to open one of those, right? So yeah, you can blame ultrasonic welding for that. Over here, electron beam, laser, thermite, electroslag. Electroslag actually is an arc welding process. It's just not a very common one, so I didn't list it up there, but it's usually done on a vertical weld where you're filling a huge section and you're bringing two pieces together and just filling a huge section, and the wire, the weld starts at the bottom, there's a flux on top, and it floats up kind of as it's welding. Electron beam, high energy electricity, I guess you could say. Lasers using light. I think laser stands for light amplification for the emission of radiation. So stimulated through the emission of radiation, that's it. Light amplification stimulated through the emission of radiation. I think that's what that stands for. Laser is very common, very precise. You can get real deep. Electron beam is the same as far as penetration. It's real narrow, just like a laser, but it goes really deep. Thermite is kind of an archaic one, I guess you could say. It takes thermite, usually it's used on the railroad. It joins huge sections of material together, and what it does is it has a chemical reaction on top of the railroad track, and then it goes down into the cross section to make the weld. And we already talked about electroslag, so hopefully that helps clear up. Got paper over there. So we're going to go back up here to arc welding. So I guess what we're trying to get across here is arc welding. There's many different kinds of arc welding. It is not just stick welding or shielded metal arc welding. People all the time say, you know how to arc weld. Well, which one? You know, these are all processes that use an arc. So I guess that's all we got for today. So that's our word for the week, arc welding, or words, because there's a couple of them there. So thanks for watching and subscribing to TV Weld, and we'll get back at it next week.
Yeah.